The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on and they get
He missed the complete. That is crazy
stuff.
stuff.
Freitas is on the grass on the infield floor. He slides through. He tags Richard Eck.
Just 2 weeks ago, drivers took the grid at Daytona with a sense of anticipation as round 1 of the iSuperSpeedway.com season had begun. 22 drivers took the main stage looking to gain those crucial points in the chase for the Cup. Amongst those drivers was Frank Buccilia III, last season's champion, who looked ahead to try and find his way to the front of the pack once again. But Brandon Jabirko had something to say about that as he became victorious in the Daytona heat. Hello, I'm Brian Corwin, and joining me this evening is Sean Ambrose and Richard Losper. Our director is Giancarlo Lenzi, and our camera sets are provided by Dougie Beard. We have a lot to talk about this evening, now with points on the board, but first we want to go to Sean to learn a little bit about this historic Alabama Superspeedway, a favorite of both the fans and the drivers.
Thanks, Brian. Good evening, everyone. Yes, we are at Talladega Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama, USA. And tonight the guys are going to run 47 laps for a total of 125 miles on this 33-degree bank track, high-speed super speedway, 200-plus miles an hour, 3-wide racing, and trust me, we've seen already these guys like to go 4-wide, maybe even 5 tonight. Thanks.
Well, 5 would be a little bit of a stretch, obviously. 4 wide, though, is doable. We remember seeing that at the season finale last year in Season 1. But now it's time to remind fans, you can follow us at Facebook, on Facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel, and Twitter at GSR Channel. So if you have any questions or comments about the broadcast, or want to stay in touch with GSRC, you know where to find us. Well, guys, it looks like now with points on the board, Brandon Jabirko has 45 points. We'll talk about why he got those extra 2 points a little bit later, but right now he's our points championship leader. Frank Bucciella III has 42 points, trailing by 3. He sits in second place. Tied with Frank right now is also the league organizer, Rod Flagg, again with 42 points. In fourth place, we have Joshua Hanner with 41 points, trailing by 4. Shane McEachin brings up the fifth place area with 40 points, trailing by 5. Donnie Gerentano with 37 points, sits in 6th place. And then for a 3-way tied for 7th place, we have Josh Ball, Greg Hooks, and Chris R. Jennings. And in 10th place, we have William Perry with 34 points. Now, right now, everybody is early on in the season. They're all looking forward to the All-Star race, which we will talk about a little bit later as well. But it's definitely something they want to strive for. They want to make that extra iRacing cash. There is some factors involved, however, and now we're going to go over to, I believe it's Richard, and learn a little bit about the stories of the race that makes those points even more crucial at the end of round 1.
Well, good evening, folks, and yes, I am very, very interested in how this season will develop, Brian. We will recall last season we had Frank Bucciella labeled as number 2. He couldn't get a win. And he came out in the last few rounds and picked up his game and won the actual championship for Season 1. So now we are in Season 2. There's only been one race so far. And Brandon Jabirko came away with the win there. I'm not seeing Brandon at the moment on the screen. So he must be sitting back in the pits having a cold one while he waits for the race to start. And by the way, we're only 3 minutes away from finishing up on this warm-up, and then we will get a start to the race. So Brandon Jabirko, first official winner of season number 2. He's on 45 points. He has led the most laps in round 1. Frank Bucciella, the third, finished second. Not too much to talk about there, Brian. Rod Flagg in third, so we need a few more races under our belt before we can start calling the differences more in detail. But we can tell you that pit strategy always a big factor in these super speedway races. Engines blowing up is another thing that we need to be looking out for. I'm looking forward to this race.
Yeah, and talk more about engines blowing up and pit strategies. Let's go over to Sean. He seems to know a little bit more about the Gen 6 cars.
Yeah, well, you definitely want to have a little bit of strategy in your pocket here. It's a 47 lap race, so you're going to need at least one pit stop for fuel. I don't know if we're going to run a green to checker race. Based on what we've seen already, I doubt that's going to happen. So you're going to have a chance to come in. If you favor position over pitting, then you'll stay out and gamble as long as you can. But otherwise, I think you'll come in when everybody else comes in, get possibly one quick fix or two quick fixes, I believe, in this league. And, as far as taking care of your motor, the draft is a great place to be if you want to go fast, but you're going to have trouble keeping the car cool, and you're going to have to duck out to get air, which could cost you some position. So you're going to have a good partner, possibly someone who's going to want to switch with you. And you're really going to have to watch those gauges because once they start to flash, you're going to have to fade back and get clean air, because that's the only way you're going to save the car from blowing up. As we've already seen in the first race of this season, engines will blow and will generally bring out a yellow if someone's right behind someone, and it just seems to always cause trouble. So we don't want to see that today. Take care of those motors.
Yeah, and speaking of taking care of those motors, Talladega is known for the very, very wide tri-oval area. This is going to be very interesting to see how the guys in the middle get that clean air on them. When the guys on the bottom side and the top side both have extra width of lane to work with, so they have a little more of an advantage if they can keep that middle lower line section of the track throughout this race as it progresses. But right now it looks like we're seconds away from getting gridded up. There's only about 1 second on the clock. We'll actually see the pace car coming out here any second. I got to ask both you guys, we'll start with Sean. Who do you like to win this race today?
You know, Brian, I've been looking at it, and based on what we saw in the first race, I think you've really got to try and find somebody that's been fast, that we've seen fast already. I'm gonna go with old Donnie Garantano and that number 2.
And Richard, who are you looking for this win today?
Well, I'm just looking at the grid at the moment here, and Rod Flagg, the organizer of the series, a third place last a couple of weeks ago. I would suggest that he might want to go a couple better than third place, and maybe he's up for a win tonight.
Absolutely, Richard, and I'm actually going to stick to my guns this week. I'm picking Rod Flagg, the league organizer. He did have a very good race in round 1 about 2 weeks ago, and I just think he has what it takes to get up there. So hopefully Rod Flagg will come out for me today and win us a race. But you did mention that the grid lineup is now been listed, so why don't we go through the gridding order now that we have the pace car moving on the track. We'll take it away, Richard.
Thank you. And in first place on the grid is Rodney Wofford, so he'll be in control of the race on the start. Donnie Garantano on his outside in row number 1. On the second row, we've got Jason Altmans and Rod Flagg, who we'll be watching tonight. On the third row, there's Greg Hooks and Dana Osborne. On the fourth row, Chris Jennings and Josh Hanna. And in the fifth row, Raymond Evans and Shane McKitchen.
And Sean?
Yeah, in 11th, number 99, Don Artman. In 12th, number 81, Mark Jorgensen Jr. In 13th, the number 57 of Jared Haggerty. In 14th, the number 48, Josh Ball. In 15th, number 17, Tanner Mann. In 16th, the number 4 of Tommy Hall. In 17th, the number 21 of Glenn Hedrick. And in 18th, number 82, Dan Harrington. Surprisingly, back in 19th, Frank Bucciala III. And in 20th, rounding out the field, Brandon Trebico. Look for him to make his way to the front.
That is very interesting indeed to see those 3 drivers, Dan Harrington, Frank Bucciala III, and Brandon Trebico, all in the back of the pack, 18th, 19th, and 20th position. It will be definitely a feat to get up to the front once again, as we've seen them running all throughout the end of Season 1, the shootout, and Season 2 as it started. So I do have faith that they will get up there. It's going to be a matter of just managing the traffic and the pit stops, keeping that engine clean. And you know, with their skill, I think they're going to be able to push everyone up to the front. But you know, we're getting really close to the start of this race. That pace car is coming around on this very, very long start-finish line through the tri-oval. He hasn't pulled off yet, but any second we will have some green flag racing, and there he goes. The pace car is off. Roddy Warford, he is going to be able to call this race at the official acceleration zone. He has Dana Osborne on the outside of that blue and yellow number 2 car. That's definitely going to be a fun car to watch today, as he had some difficult luck. And here we go, and it looks like Roddy Warford got a little bit of a jump. That number 2's on the outside, holding his line. It looks like the whole pack got a good jump. Nobody fell behind or had any difficulties, and now it looks like everyone's going nice and clean, so there's not a whole lot of drama here at the beginning of the race. Sean, what are you seeing in the middle of the pack?
You know, I'm seeing the 83 down on the apron, now back up. The 99 dipping down there a little bit. And here we go, turning onto the back stretch. They're all in line right now. Everybody's playing it safe. Doesn't look like it. Oh, the 83 maybe looking to the inside, trying to come up the middle. Not quite yet. The 7 still at the point, and the 2 on the outside holding the second line.
Yeah, Jason Oldman's in that 97 car is looking very good today, as he has a very good grasp on the back of, I believe that is Roddy Wofford. So looks like they're going to try and get that push going really early. And now we also got Greg Hooks, that 98 car, also pushing very hard. That bottom side's definitely working very good this morning, or excuse me, this evening as we come around Talladega. We are on lap 2 already, so it just gives you some appreciation how fast these laps can go. Dana Osborne's just a little bit slow on that top side. He's getting a little bit of a push, but right now not looking too good as he's falling just a little bit behind. Richard, how's the back of the pack looking?
Yeah, I'm watching from Glenn Hedrick's number 21 car, who is second to last at the moment. Dan Harrington actually bringing up the rear of the field. Looking back or looking forward from here, we can see 3 lines running in the middle of the pack, and up front there, just 2 lanes in action, but all looking pretty clean at this moment. The 82 car of Don Harrington bringing up the rear, as I said. Nothing to report at this stage as they go 3 wide up near the front again.
I got a report for you guys here. Frank Bucciala and I'm sorry, the number 48 of Josh Ball and the number 3 of Brandon Trebico coming on the top side, 3rd lane up top, and they're making their way to the front, guys.
Yeah, and it looks like they got a good run too, but Dana Osborne's not going to have anything of it. If he can get a good push from that middle lane, we're going to see 3 wide coming through 3 and 4. Right now, Roddy Wofford's in the hot seat. He's going to be able to just hold on tight because he has the shortest way around the track. But that just means the top side of Josh Ball, and I think you said it was Frank Bucciala III, to have the longest way to go, and they're working very hard together. It looks like they got a good run. Are we going to see Josh Ball dip to the inside? It's too early to say. It doesn't look like he has a good enough run. Roddy Wofford is also doing well, and there they go. Both drivers appear to make it, so now we have Josh Ball and Frank Bucciala III now in the front of the pack, and also Josh Ball leading the race. Good move by them there, Sean.
Look at those 2 go. Man, they just ran up to the front like a wild horse. And right now are just leading this race. But here comes up on the outside, the number 2. Here we go. Donnie Garantano making his way to the front on the outside. Can they make it work, or can they get a run off the next turn?
It's hard to say right now, but Richard, it looks like in the back of the pack, Tanner Mann's having a little bit of trouble keeping up. He has got kind of trapped where he's at. He's in the 17 Pepsi Max car. What are you seeing out of him right now?
Yeah, Tanner Mann, he's on the inside as we speak. On his outside, you got the 23 there. And they all pretty good as we see a couple of cars touching. That was the 57 car having a bit of a touch there with the guy on the inner lane. But no harm, no foul. They all keep going. Frank Bucciala, strangely, in second last place as we are on lap 5 right now. And Tanner Mann, of course, in the 17 car, bringing up pretty much the 15th position. But at this stage, Brian, they all still seem to be pretty clean, although there's a bit of dicing going 3 wide again in the middle of the pack there. We got a guy caught up wide, the number 8 car, and that is Dana Osborne. So he's being freight trained at this moment.
Yeah. Dana. So, excuse me, go ahead there, Sean.
No, I was probably going to steal your thunder. Dana got freight trained when he had to step out after following Donnie Garantano. I think his motor got a little bit too hot and he had to step out, and he lost all those positions.
I do want to correct myself, however. I did call Dana Osborne in the blue and yellow number 2 car. I do have to correct myself. That is Johnny Garantano that started on the outside of row 1, but nonetheless having a good race altogether, trying to catch up to Josh Ball, but that bottom side has been very fast today. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, even 5 cars, all bumper to bumper with barely any room for air down there. You got to imagine it's getting a little hot down there in those cars. And it looks like we're on board with Frank Gucciella III as he's racing very hard today. Not a lot of area to pass as we see 3 wide going between 2 and 3 wide. It almost merges seamlessly as we go around these corners. We're on lap 6, so you can just kind of appreciate how hard he's working there, Sean.
Yeah, you can. And, man, it's getting pretty dicey out here. I see guys needing air as we just saw Donnie Garantano and the number 48 of Josh Ball do a little switch there because they were getting a little hot.
And who is that in front of him? I believe that's Rod Flagg. I could be wrong. Yeah, actually, I do got that wrong. But nonetheless, Frank Bucciella having a very good race. And, you know, these guys they've been doing this every single race that I can remember. They start out strong, get a good 15 to 20 laps in, and that's when chaos usually erupts. So hopefully these guys are keeping their engines and their temperatures in check. Everyone looks nice and clean now, and I have nothing to report. So let's go back to Richard and see what the back of the pack is going on with.
Yes, and I have been watching Frank Bucciella as well. He is on the outside line. He prefers to run a little wider there. It's an opportunity to get some air if you need it, and that's a good strategy in my opinion. The inside lane, as we all know, is the preferred lane in terms of holding your position. But with only 19 cars at the moment in this field, I think we've lost one somewhere along the line, but 19 of them are currently on the track. It is quite easy to stay in touch with the guys in front of you. So Frank Bucciella playing it smart. A couple of the other guys as well. We've got Greg Hooked in the 98 car there on the inside. These guys on the inside will struggle to get air as the green flag run goes longer and longer. So the guys on the top side, as long as they can keep in line with the other guys in front of them, they have got, in my opinion, Brian, a little bit of a better strategy going than those on the inside right now.
I totally agree with you there, Richard. And it looks like Chris Jennings is out of the race. I do not know if he started or not. I'm looking at the race list. However, it does appear that someone by the name of Chris Jennings has left the server. Nonetheless, we have a good race going right now. Donnie Garantano, while you were talking, Richard, took the lead, and now Josh Ball is moving to the outside, trying to work his way up there. The number 5 of Josh Hanner is trying to get a good draft, and he's getting some help by the number 28 of that is Shane McKeechin. So that top side now is all working pretty tight, and it looks like Donnie slid up just a little bit, kind of gives Josh Ball a little bit of a spook, but he holds on tight, and now it looks like the 5 and the 48 are connected pretty good. I think coming out of this turn, they're going to go for another shot at the lead. Right now, I think Josh Hanner has been really impressing me with his pushing abilities, but now we're seeing everybody going left and right again. They are getting closer and closer with every slip of the wheel, and it's got to be getting stressful if they're trying to make a run up there in the front of the pack. Right now, it looks like, though, Josh Hanner does have the push. Will they have the momentum to get around Donnie? I don't think they will. It looks like Josh Ball is choosing to stay on the top side. He had plenty of room to go down, but he stays up with Josh Hanner. So Josh Hanner, Josh Ball, Shane McKeechin, all working very hard together to try and get in front, but it's just not quite working yet, Sean.
And here they go, and he drops down. The 48 drops down, and Josh Ball is in the lead heading into turn 1. And as they go through the turn, Josh Ball leads him, and the top line is kind of slid back a little bit, making that bottom line work. Coming out of turn 2, Josh Ball at the front with Donnie Garantano hot on his trail.
Yeah, and that was a very scary moment for, I believe, Donnie Garantano as he sees Josh Ball come down right in front of his nose and then almost immediately move back up just a little bit. He realized that Josh Hanner was still right there and had no room for him to get up there with his partner anymore. So unfortunately, he had to leave him behind and then almost took out the number 2 car in the process. So right now, we have Josh Ball in the front. Josh Hanner's getting stuck back there a little bit. And I believe that's the 3 car now. Brandon Jabirko has worked his way up now into the top 3. He almost came out of nowhere. So Brandon Jabirko, great run, Richard, from the back of the pack to 3rd place in only 12 laps.
Yeah, I was going to make comment on that. Brandon Jabirko did start in dead last place. We're seeing some really great pictures from our director here. I love those high shots where we can see all the cars in line. But a great run from Brandon Chabirko. Around the back of the pack here, where the last place is currently being held by the 21 car of Glenn Hedrick and Don Harrington. These guys have just played it safe and just hung on with the pack. Not that difficult to do at this point in time. But as we all know, the temperatures will rise in conjunction with the rise in temperature inside the car as well. And I'm pretty sure we'll see some fireworks later on in the race. But right now, all nice and clean. 2 lines, nothing to report back here, Brian.
Yeah, and it looks like right now Brandon Chabirko is letting his engine cool off a little bit. You see him peeking down there on that yellow line just a little bit, but not going too far away from that 48 car they try to defend. However, as I say that, the 5 car gets left behind again as the number 2 of Donnie Garantano pulls right in front of Josh Ball. Yeah, that's right, Josh Ball. And
there we have an accident. The 17 car involved. 17 car touched the wall. Tanner Mann in the 17 car, he is going to head into pit lane by the looks of things. I don't think we got a yellow flag from that. Brian, back to you.
Yeah, it sounded like someone's engine blew up. That was Dan Harrington on the radio, but let's go back and just see what happens here. I did not catch that, so Richard, you'll have to be the narrator on this one. All I'm looking right now, and it just seems like everyone's running nice and clean, then boom, car up in the wall. So Tanner Mann looks like he's in trouble. That might have been a blown engine, but it's hard to say. Luckily, he was right by pit road and could roll his way down there.
Yeah, no smoke coming from his car. I think he just hit the wall. Must have been... oh, now we see some smoke coming. So yes, you could be right. Blown engine. He has got a second car and is coming back out of the pits now. So back to you guys.
Sean, so what are your thoughts so far on the race?
Well, right now, the guys that we thought were going to be fast are fast, and they're at the front, and they're working real well together. Seems like, we're seeing some of these small position changes just for the sake of letting these guys cool down a little bit. So they're obviously working together. We've got 15 laps of green flag running in here, guys. I don't want to jinx anything, but hey, we're going to be talking about pit stops here in about 10 laps.
Yeah, and that's true, and I do have to go over some of the league rules now. If the cars are going 3 wide, it's their responsibility to get down into a 2 wide situation if they come up to a lap car. So Tanner Mann is completely out of his control right now, whether or not they're able to do that. He gets out of the way and kindly lets everybody by as Donnie Garantano leads another lap. Also, we gotta mention, guys, they get 1 extra point for leading a lap, and then they get another additional point for leading the most laps in a race. So that's why Brandon Chabirko has 45 points going into this race. And I gotta say, it looks like a lot of guys are making a case because we've had a couple lead changes, and a lot of guys are leading a lot of laps so far early in this race. Sean?
Yeah, and here's Brandon Chabirko starting to lead his chunk of laps now after Donnie Garantano had a nice turn of lead flag laps, and Josh Ball for that matter. But that number 5, the Josh Hanner, just stays up there in that top lane, and he's in the hunt because every time somebody decides to slip in behind him, he starts making his way up to those guys on the inside line.
Ooh, Donnie Garantano poking his nose out. I don't know if he's trying to get Eric, seeing if he's tempting Josh Hanner to give him a little bit of a push. It looks like Hanner is going to get caught out once again, though, as Brandon Chabirko stays his line, but that is where the track gets a little wider there. Almost gave up that lead because that inside line's really easy to get sneaky and take it away from the car in front. And Brandon Chabirko defended it like a pro, and the pro that he is on iRacing and the oval side of things. So right now, Brandon Chabirko looking good. And it is Randy Walford trying to close clear off his car and get a little bit of clean and cold air on there. I gotta say, guys, I'm very impressed. We're on lap 17 of, I believe, 47. No yellows and no real serious accidents yet. Richard, one of the best runs we've seen out of this group yet.
Yeah, it's real fun racing at the moment. I am driving along with the number 57 car of Jared Haggerty. Now, when we had Tanner Mann touching the wall there and coming down, these guys kind of dropped off the pace a little bit. In front of Jared, we've got Glenn Hedrick in the 21 car. These guys are slightly behind the others right now, and they really need to get a good push going so they can get back on the pack. However, it is difficult even when you have a partner pushing you and you've got a big pack of guys running up front. It's difficult to catch up once again, so these guys have the job ahead of them to try and catch up to the pack. But just in front of those guys, you've got the main group, and the last guy in that group is the 82 car of Don Harrington. So these guys all nice and clean, and we hope that the other two can catch up and be a part of the group once again. But you're quite right, Brian. We have had now 17 laps, and it's been all under green, and that starts to one starts to wonder when we're going to get a problem. And the guys in their cars at this moment, we see some 3 wide action. They must be thinking about when do I pit now, and is it going to go green all the way? And we have some trouble. We have
Whole bunch
some
of
trouble
cars
towards
involved
the rear.
too. Go ahead,
That's
Richard.
the 83 car of who's the 83? That is Raymond Evans. He was involved. There was a bit of a touch in the rear of the pack there. So
And the caution
now.
flag has been thrown, guys. The caution flag is out.
The caution flag is out indeed. We are getting a replay of that situation. We can see there that the guys are traveling nicely, and all of a sudden one guy goes up a little bit, and that would be the 99 Dawn Artman and the 83 of Raymond Evans touching, and that caused the start of the problem. And then of course it just exaggerated. Oh, there's a car coming down. That was who was that? That was Raymond Evans in the 83. So that caused the caution, guys, and now everybody gets an opportunity to regroup. But for the front runners, this is a little bit of a blessing, Brian, because now they can pit under yellow.
Yeah, yes indeed. They will pit under yellow, but you know, Talladega is one of the longest oval tracks in all of oval racing. So with that being said, we're going to let these guys get their pit stops. We're going to take a quick break, come back once everyone's reformed, and then have some more green flag racing for you. So we'll be back in a little bit. Welcome back. Welcome back to the iSuperSpeedway.com series. This is round 2 of season 2, and we've had a great match so far. Something like 20 laps under green before having a yellow, and of course, always in this series, intense racing galore. We'll go down to Sean and see what the lineup is when we go back to green. Go take it away, Sean.
Yeah, after pit stops and everybody getting shuffled around and one guy getting his lap back, we've got Glenn Hendrick, the number 21 in first on the front row there. Second, Rodney Wofford. On the outside, in third, Donnie Garetano. In fourth, Mark Jorgensen Jr. In fifth, Shane McEachin. In sixth, Josh Hanner. In seventh, Frank Bucciala, the third. And in eighth, Brandon Trebico. In ninth, Josh Ball. And rounding up the top 10, in number 98, Greg Hooks.
And the following cars are in 11th place, Jason Altmans. In 12th place, Tommy Hall. Rod Flagg, who we have been looking at and wanting to have win this race, is in 12th place. Dana Osborne in 13th. Jared Haggerty in 14th. Dan Harrington in 15th. Dawn Artman in 16th. And Ramon Evans. These were the two cars that were involved in the accident that caused the caution flag to come out. These guys are 16 and 17. Tanner, man, good news for Tanner. That caution allowed him to get his lap back. He's also got his pit stop in, so he's on the back of the pack, kind of, but back in the race. And last but not least, Greg Hooks in 19th place.
Yeah, Richard, and you just mentioned Don Artman, and I believe it was the 33 car. Where's he at? They had a little bit of an incident on pit road. What happened there?
Yeah, coming into pit road, one of them obviously wasn't paying attention, and I think that was Dawn Artman and what might have been Ramon Evans. But anyway, those two got together again coming into the pits, which is a big no-no, but didn't cause any drama because they both got into their pit stalls, refreshed their cars, and everyone's back out there. It's like a new race now as we go into lap 23, finishing up the lap 23 and going into lap 24. So it's like we have a new race and we're almost halfway.
Yeah, and Sean, it looks like, I believe it was Glenn Hendrick stayed out of pits. He did not go in for tires or fuel. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I got to be honest with you. I am a little curious about that. But now listen, Glenn, he's one of those people who might be gambling now on another caution flag in the next 6, 7, maybe 8 laps. Stay out front, get that first place and those bonus points, and then come in and take his pit then. I can't explain it any other way. So it is an interesting strategy. Let's see if it pays off for him, Brian.
Yeah, and as you said, if it was a quick yellow, the 21 car looks like the quickest on the track, but right now we're going green. The pace car is pulling off. Any second now, they'll be accelerating over the start-finish line. Oh, excuse me, I am on replay mode. I have to get back to you. It looks like the 21 car of Glenn Hendrick is on that bottom side. Donnie Garetano's right behind him, pushing very hard, but on the top side, Rodney Wofford trying to get back into the lead where he started the race. Looking very fast right now, and he has a lot of help. Sean, good push on the top side.
Yeah, Mark Jorgensen Jr. right behind him, and then it drops down to the inside right with Rodney as they take this thing through the turn. Both of them, 1, 2, Rodney Wofford, Glenn Hendrick, as they head down the back stretch. Here we go, guys.
Yeah, it looks like Rodney Wofford's back in the lead, and right behind him we have Glenn Hendrick pushing that middle car of Mark Jorgensen, Jr. I'm just all sort of flustered today. I just need to get it all back to me. Sean McEachin also joining the mix, and it looks like we got that 94 car, Frank Bucciala III, making his way back up through the field. Everyone's just, kind of spread out right now. The bottom side's a little strung out, and the top side, just 4 deep, is not making very much progress on that lead car. So right now, Rodney Wofford's looking like he's in good condition, Richard.
Yeah, there certainly is. He's leading at the moment. I've got my camera on Rod Flagg, who we fancy to win this race. He's currently mid-pack on the outside in the 23 car. Behind him, he has somebody helping him. And that is indeed the 57 car of Jared Haggerty. So let's see if these guys can make a move on the outside to get up there and start challenging for the lead. But at the moment, Josh Hanna has just taken over the lead. Back to you, Brian.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Josh Hanner right now. He's working very hard. Rodney Wofford moved up to that outside line on the top side. He's being pushed, but it looks like he just doesn't have that speed. That top side isn't working as well as it did at Daytona. Now, it looks like Glenn Hendrick, who started the green session here on the lead, has moved down to 6th place. And, of course, Richard and mine pick Rod Flagg is in 10th. So right now, everything's getting back organized once again as we come around these long stretches, hoping for another long stint. Now, Sean, right before we came back, you said something about the pit strategy. Something about we don't need to worry about fuel or tires anymore. Tell us a little bit about the pit strategy so far in the race.
Well, I mean, those guys got a yellow flag at a really opportune moment. Their pit window is about 30 to 32 laps. So, I mean, you know, that came at a perfect time. This is a 47-lap race. We're on lap 27 right now. There's only 20 to go. So these guys that came in for a pit, they're good. I'm a little worried about what our friend Glenn Hendrick's doing, though, because he's running out of time here real quick. Now, yeah, he probably conserved a little bit of fuel under the yellow, but he's going to need a pit here real quick, and these guys are running just like they were in the early part of the race right now, side by side, but everybody's in line and not doing anything too risky. This thing could go green flag to the end. Let's see what happens, guys.
Right now, I'm looking at Josh Ball in the 48 car. He has Dana Osborne on the right of his car, and it looks like both of them, despite their pit strategy and their hard work, have fallen a little ways back. Just in front of them, though, we got Jared Haggerty, who's having a good run today, and of course, Jason Oltmans, who's right in front of Josh Ball. So these guys that we normally see towards the front of the pack are stuck kind of in the middle, Sean, and it just looks like that top side's not moving as much as we normally see it do, or as it normally goes. So interesting today as we see cars, Shane McEachin and Glenn Hendrick both trying to get some clean air in that bottom line. Just interesting to see the trouble that the top side's having. It's like they're nice and fast and they push really hard, they get in the lead, and then they just disappear.
Yeah, that's been happening a little bit, but here up towards the front, at least these guys that we've seen working together throughout the race, they've been good in either line. So as we get further back, though, we do see that top line not making as much difference. But if you
well,
get
guys, let me break in here real quick. Brandon Jabirko, and in front of him, the car that we're watching there is in fact Brandon Jabirko and the number 2 car of Donny Garetano. They pushed their way all to the front, and now Brandon's picked up a new partner, and he goes to the front of this race in the number 3 car, from the outside line. So some of the guys are making it work for them. He needs a bit more help just to maintain that position there, but he's getting some argument from the 7 car as well. So it's starting to heat up a little bit up the front there, Brian.
Yeah, that was a scary moment there. It looked like Rodney Wofford and Donny Garantano got a little bit together. That was very skilled driving from that number 2 car to not spin off the road and take everybody out. But, man, I can't blame him if that would have happened because, man, he was in a pickle. He was getting squeezed very hard, and that top side did not want to budge. Brandon Jabirko, when he wants to put it on, he puts it on hard. And right now with Josh Hanner pushing him, no one's going to be able to stop him. So it looks like Rodney Wofford is going to concede that position to both Josh Hanner and Brandon Jabirko. Jabirko will be the race leader this time by.
Yep. Man, isn't it amazing? I'm sorry, Richard. Isn't it amazing how slick and smooth Brandon Jabirko is? Here he is up front leading the race once again, and if things stay as they are, something tells me he may be on that podium at the very top when this thing gets finished.
Well, I've got to tell you,
go ahead, Richard.
I'm sorry, we've got argument on that score there from the 2 car and the 23 car of Rod Flagg and in fact Donny Garetano, who are challenging on the outside. Rod Flagg coming into his own finally and making a move for the first position, being helped by the very, very able Donny Garetano. So this is good stuff as we come into lap number 32 very, very soon. And now we really see that outside line working hard and making it happen, Brian.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. That outside line's definitely working hard now. They're turning up the intensity. We saw them just kind of falling off all over the place earlier on, but in lap 32, they're making them stick pretty good right now. So I guess it's a matter of plugging in the right people into the right places and making that top side work without blowing up those cars. You know who I'm really impressed with, though, is Tanner Mann. He fell off the pack earlier on. He got a little bit of help from Glenn Hendrick, I believe, if I got the right number there. And now they're both kind of in the middle of the pack. And now Tanner Mann, of course, in 9th place has made his way into the top 10. So Tanner Mann having a great run today, Sean.
Yes, he is, and getting that lap back was key. I had a feeling he'd get back in this thing, and right now it's paying off. Hey guys, 18 of these cars are still within a second of each other. It's anybody's race.
Yes, sir, it is. And right now I see Rodney Watford getting a little unsettled, it looks like. You were mentioning earlier, Sean, that he was going up and down quite a bit, but, you know, it's kind of how super speedway races go. With all the drafting and intensity of cars shifting lanes, it's very difficult to keep that car straight, and like a lot of these guys make it look very easy. Now, Rodney Warford is currently sitting somewhere around 4th or 5th place. He has had a great run. Hopefully his luck's better than it was at the end of the last race, Sean.
Yeah, you did see in that last race, he had some awful luck there at the end. But I like the way this one's shaping up right now. And, you know, Josh Hanner, Donnie Garitano up there on the outside, right now trying to make their way back up to the front. Let's make that outside line work again. As we see the leader, though, kind of duck up a little bit, and here they go across the line, guys.
A little argy-bargy there as we see cars kind of forcing their way into position. Not a lot of work going on there, and it looks like right now Donnie Garitano on that top side is pushing somebody. Who is that? I believe that is Josh Hanner, moving to the lead. So again, the top side just putting it all out there now. We're on lap 34 of 47, so they're actually getting to a point now where it actually will benefit them to push extra hard. But, you know, I've been noticing something, Richard. It seems like Josh Ball is falling back a little ways.
Yeah, Josh Ball has certainly fallen back a little bit, but I am impressed with the run that Brandon Chaburko and Rod Flagg have put together on the inside. Rod Flagg was leading laps, and I think he may well go into the next lap leading once again. But there's some very hard pushing going on the top side with Donnie Garitano and the 7 of Rodney Wofford. So a lot of action still to come in this race, as we see some smoke there from an extra hard push coming off there. But now we're getting to the business end of this race, as we see Josh Ball just having to duck onto the inside below the yellow line to avoid any contact with the car in front of him. But now it's getting pretty tight. There's pushing going on in inopportune places, Brian, and this is what causes wrecks. So guys have to be real careful at the moment.
And of course, right now, if there were a wreck, my man Rod Flagg in that number 23 car is definitely leading the pack with the help of Brandon Chaburko. We can't say that's going to last too long, though, as that number 7 car is looking awfully hungry today. He's third in line on that bottom side, and he's pushing Brandon Chaburko hard. So we might see it. It does not happen. Brandon Chaburko contemplating going under that little wedge, try to force his way under Rod Flagg, but he thinks better of it. Flagg is racing very well today and worked his way up to the start from the middle of the pack. And of course, being a league organizer, he has to do a lot of the IRT stuff as well as think about the race he's having. So he works double duty every week. We can't say enough about how hard this man works. But Brandon Chaburko, like you mentioned, Richard, having a great run today. He is currently sitting in 3rd place, but we might as well call it 2nd, because at the end of the race, he's going to push it very hard. We're on lap 36, only 11 more laps to go, or something in the ballpark, 11 or 12 laps at the line. So not a lot of time left. These guys need to make their moves and get aggressive now, or they might get locked in position at the end of the pack there, right, Sean?
Yeah, and aggressive is what we're starting to see. Greg Hooks and Tanner Mann are back there mixing it up. You know, as we now see Frank Pucciala also out there, and the it's getting pretty dicey, guys. I think anything can happen. Glenn Hendrick is still in this race. He is not pitted. It's lap 37. What in the world's going on here? I'm calling for a teardown.
Yeah, someone's going to have to take that car to the judges table at the end of the race and see if he has an extended oil tank or fuel tank, because he has gone 37 laps without fuel and without tires. I'm just guessing at any minute we're going to see him pull up the side and sputter to pit road, because that is probably the longest we've seen anybody go without going into the pits and still having a competitive car. Now, it looks like Jared Haggerty went up into that wall and hit the wall a little bit. Richard, did you see if any damage was done by that?
No, I did not see that. I have to confess, I am watching the 2 and the 5 cars on the outside starting to make their move. I've got to tell you, the 2 of Donnie Garitano is pushing the heck out of the 5 of Josh Hanna. and these guys are trying to take that first place position away from a Rod Flag, who's being ably helped, of course, by Brandon Jaberko. As we see a caution come out now. What happened there? I missed it.
Okay, there was a single car spin at the back of the field. Hadn't gotten to it yet, guys. I'm kind of surprised we're seeing a caution flag here. It was not thrown by the admin. It was an iRacing yellow, but it was a single car spin, and I haven't, like I said, I haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It looks like Sean's right. He did get a little bit of help, it looks like, or made some kind of contact with the apron. Either way, he spun out, and I think he just stopped in the wrong place on the track where the iRacing software will call that an unsafe parking on the track. And now the car definitely does not look like it's in good shape. He was crabbing a little bit trying to get it going, and it looks like he's kind of having to keep the car straight. So that was a very hard hit by that 99 car.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does now bring out a caution at the tail end of the race, which is bad for everybody because it does mean that we are going to have some sort of shootout. We're currently on lap 39 going into lap 40 out of 47, so there's at least 3 more pace laps to go, possibly 4, before we see action. That'll only leave Brian a few laps, possibly 3 or 4 laps as a race to the finish. So you want to be up near the front right now. Rod Flag sitting in a really good position. He'll have control of the field when they go, and there we're seeing a replay now of the situation that occurred that caused the yellow flag, and it's Don Artman who goes off track there, just spins his car around the number 99, comes back up onto the track, and that's what caused the caution, hits the wall and then goes down again onto the apron and stops there, and that brought out the caution. But getting back to the action, Brian, you want to be up the front at this point in time. 3 laps to go when we get a restart here. It's going to be frantic.
Yeah, you know, I'm watching the replay from a different angle and just trying to see if I can figure out what happened. And the best I can come up with is the 83 car of, I believe it is Ramon Evans. He had a little bit of a net coat or a little bit of a bobble right next to him trying to come through the tri-oval area of the track. And that's what caused the 99 to go spinning. And would you believe it? Don Artman finds Ramon Evans once again for a yellow flag situation. Definitely those two have no love lost going into the next round.
Yeah, well, look, this is, we're right at the tail end of the race now, lap number 40. I think when we get a restart, you've got the 2 fastest guys up near the front there, Brandon Jaberko, Rod Flag, and the 2 and the 7 cars, Donny Garatano and Rodney Wofford. I reckon it's between these 4 as to who is going to win this race, but Rod Flag, our pick for the race, sitting in the number 1 spot on the restart. He gets to call when they actually restart. What do you think he'll do, Sean? Straight off the pace car or wait for the green?
I think he's going to wait for the green, Richard. And maybe even just a second before. I don't know, but I think he's going to wait for the green.
What makes you say that?
You know, I have a feeling. It's a gut feeling. I don't know how to explain it other than that is what I would do.
Okay. Well, guys, we are still quite a number of laps off from a start. Lap number 40 just finished. Gosh, Brian, it's a long pace lap around here.
Absolutely, Richard. And I'm thinking with that being said, maybe we should take a short break and come back for the end of the race under the green flag conditions. We'll talk to you folks in just a little bit. Welcome back, folks, to the iSuperSpeedway.com round 2 of season 2 here at Talladega. We've had a wonderful, long and enduring race today. 2 cautions so far and 41 laps in the books. Definitely been an intense one at that. And we, excuse me, as we come back to the line right now, the pace car is going to be peeling off just any second, and then Rod Flag will get a really good chance now to solidify his win, but now he has to deal with Brandon Chabirko on that outside line, being pushed by the number 7, or Rodney Wofford. So this time I will make sure I'm not in replay mode as the pace car goes off, and any second now we'll see glory happen. Rod Flag has control of the acceleration zone. He is picking up speed just slightly, but not ready to go yet. And there he goes. Rod Flag takes that position as he's going to take off as fast as he can. Right now we got Josh Hanner pushing on the outside, followed by the number 2, Adani Garantano. On the top side, Brandon Chabirko being pushed by Rodney Wofford. Rodney Wofford is one of the best pushers in the group. He has been very strong in the last 5 races that I've watched him in, and he has been a very good pusher at that. So Sean, right now, both of these drivers in the front row have 2 of the best pushers in the game, and now it's going to be a showdown for those last couple of laps.
Josh Hanner's been pushing this whole race. He's only led 2 laps, but he's been up front all night. So, Rod Flag has got to love having him at his back door right now. But, man, don't give up on Brandon Chabirko up top there.
Not at all, and right now we're on board Joshua Hanner as it looks like he's pushing Rod Flag. They have a little bit of a run, but unfortunately Hanner's going to overheat if he keeps up that effort. And right there, Rodney Wofford's getting a good push from Brandon Chabirko. Chabirko using that side draft the best that he can as they cross the start-finish line for lap 43. Everyone's getting very tight now. They're trying to use that side draft as much as possible. Rod Flag on the outside in that 23 car. He is keeping that car very straight. He has been stable this whole run. I think he wants to win it for both me and Richard because he is throwing a lot of poise. He splits the lanes a little bit. Rodney Wofford on the outside, and we have a big crash. I didn't see what caused it. Richard or Sean, did you see what happened? Well, it appears they haven't stopped yet, though, as we're still doing 202 in Rod Flag's car. So we'll have to report back to you really quick, Richard, to see what happened there.
Yeah, look, it's frantic at the rear of the field, but don't worry about that. Everybody's still going. Let's concentrate on what's happening up front there, where we still see Rod Flag leading this race right now as we go into lap number 44. And he's getting a lot of push from Josh Hanner. And on the outside, Brandon Chabirko, Rodney Wofford, trying to make the outside line work for them, which they are doing. They are all side by side. The action is hot. The action is fierce. And these are the 4 guys, as we said, that are going to feature at the end of this race. Don't worry about what's happening at the back. They're all still going.
Yeah, Josh Hanner is looking very strong right now, but he's looking a little hot. I just see him pulling away in these corners, and that's where Wofford gets a good push on Chabirko, so they're doing alternate strategies. And then the 5 car just kind of slows down. Did we get a yellow? I don't think so.
Yes, we have a yellow.
All right, so it looks like we have a yellow. Unfortunately, that's going to probably be the end of the race because we are on lap 44, and yellow flag conditions take at least 4 laps to complete. Excuse me, lap 45. So it looks like our boy Richard, Rod Flag, is going to come away with a win here.
Yeah, and just on screen at the moment, we are seeing Tanner Man in the 17 car with smoke coming out of his car. We'll get a replay of that incident. But certainly the action was towards the rear of the field, and they were shifting around, moving around a lot. And then let's see, the 17, let's get in with the 17 there. He's on the outside. He kind of blows his motor there by the looks of things, and that's what caused some problems. Yes, definitely smoke coming out of his car. He goes down, he touches another car as well. So that's what caused the problem, Brian, and it's unfortunate because we were looking for a wonderful finish up the front there and not to be for this race. But Rod Flag will come out the winner, which is a bit of luck for him, but it does make our prediction come true.
Richard, I want to jump in real quick, though. I'm seeing the replay from the chase view. It looks like Jason Altman's got wrapped up, and don't quote me on this, but I think it was Glenn Hendrick. I just want to get another angle from the chase view and see what we can see here. I do definitely think Tanner Mann got hit by a spinning car.
You're seeing that right. We did see Jason Altman's get turned by what looked to be Glenn Hendrick. We're on board with Altman now, and we're seeing that Hedrick got a run up on him, and he made contact with the right rear quarter panel and sent him spinning into the wall.
Yep, certainly that is what happened, and poor old Glenn's car got, or Jason Altman's car got turned up on its lid, as well as we see now from Glenn Hedrick's car on the replay. He comes up really fast, touches on the quarter panel, as you said, and spins the 97 car into the wall, and he then goes crashing down and takes out the 17 car as well, who had blown his motor as we were seeing all of that happen. So a bit unfortunate about what happened at the tail end of the race there, Brian, but that is Talladega.
Yeah, absolutely, and this is one of those moments that the oval guys will definitely wish that green-white checkers were a factor in iRacing because of incidents like this. It would have been a cool thing to see Rod Flag and Brandon Chibirko finish that battle, but it looks like Rod Flag is going to be in the good seat today as Chibirko gives him a little congratulations bump coming into turn 3. We do have about 1 lap to go before we can call this an unofficial finish for the guys. So, Richard, why don't we go down the lineup and let everybody know now what the results are before we go to break?
Well, absolutely. And Rod Flag wins the second race of this season, season number 2. Well, it's unofficial at this stage, but he is certainly leading as we go in to lap number 46 being completed, and then the last lap number 47. Second place at this point in time is Brandon Chibirko, Josh Hanna, and Rodney Wofford. The 5 and the 7. Those guys, those 4 were definitely the pick, or you know, the class guys in this particular race. So that's your top 4: Rod Flag, Brandon Chibirko, Josh Hanna, Rodney Wofford. Just behind them, Dori Garitano, who didn't have an opportunity to show his skills. And then Franco Chalia, who had a quiet race but managed to push himself up into 6th place there. Sean McKeechan in 7th, Mark Jorgensen Jr. in 8th, Josh Ball, who was featuring very, very much in the opening and mid of this race, he's in 9th, and Greg Hooks, who again one of the quiet achievers, in 10th place.
Yeah,
and on 11.
Go ahead,
sorry,
Sean. No, go ahead.
I was
Go
going to finish out the running order here. In 11th, boy, number 83 Ramon Evans, he had his share of trouble today, and in 12th, number 57 to Jared Haggerty. In 13th, tough luck for Dana Osborne, is having a pretty good run for most of this race, but wound up in 13th. In 14th, another driver had a little bit of trouble today, Don Artman. In 15th, Tommy Hall, tough luck day for him. And in 16th, Dan Harrington. 17th, Tanner Mann, just didn't have any luck today. Got that lap back, but couldn't make it work in the end. 17th place for the number 17. In 18th, the number 21 of Glenn Hedrick. And finishing out the cars still running, the number 97 of Jason Altmans.
Yeah, and it looks like Altman's definitely got a little bit of trouble there at the end of the race. I think he did use both of his quick repairs. That sends him 2 laps down. Of course, Glenn Hendrick, of course, also was in trouble. So looks like we got the flag coming up here. This was a great race, guys. Was it what you expected?
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Richard. Go ahead.
Okay, that we're being very, very nice to each other here today. That's good to see. Well, I will go ahead then. I am very pleased to see league organizer Rod Flag win this race. It's still early on in the season, lots of racing to go. Brandon Chibirko always going to be in there at the end. We knew that. And the 2 of Donny Garitano, the 7 of Rodney Wofford, and the 5 of Josh Hanna. These guys gave us some really exciting racing today. So a good race, lots of green flag runs, and unfortunate finish though, Brian.
Absolutely, and of course, Sean, we'll get your thoughts in a moment, but first we have to go take a break now, as it looks like everybody is going to cross the line here and call it a day. We see the 23 of Rod Flag get spun by Chibirko into that wall. And of course, like a lot of the other series we cover, these guys like to have fun after a long, hard day at the office. All right, well, that's all for us folks. We'll take a short break, come back with the, of course, results that we've already gone over, so we'll have driver interviews, and then we'll wrap this broadcast up. So we'll talk to you in a few. Hello and welcome to the iSuperSpeedway.com round 2 of season 2 here at Talladega. We had a wonderful race today. I think they only had 3 cautions, so intensity throughout. Again, we already went over the results. We already know who got the points. Of course, Rod Flagg, and that goes without saying. That's quite a feat to take down the mighty Brandon Chabirko and Josh Hanner. So good job to all those guys. Now it looks like we got a few interviews in the mix. First, we're gonna have Sean talking to Josh Hanner. So take it away, Sean.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Josh Hanner, congratulations on your third place finish today. How you feeling right now?
Oh, we're a little amped up. That was pretty intense racing, that whole race, man. We were really side drafting real hard and a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving. You know, I'm glad it's over with.
Yeah, you had the white knuckle syndrome going, it sounds like. Hey, man, you were living up there on the high line, and it seemed to really work for you. You also proved your skills as a teammate and a pusher back there. It seemed like you were doing a lot of pushing throughout that race, living up there on the high line.
Well, when you start on the high line like I did, you kind of, that's what you got to do. I mean, you're waiting on somebody to come up and pick you up so you get the opportunity to push them, and hopefully you'll gain a little bit of ground in the process. And then you just kind of hope someone will pick you and push you around the leader so you can get down. And it's a constant struggle because you're worried about your oil and your water overheating. So I just kept riding and waited for my runs, and it worked out for me.
Yeah, I think you led your first lap right there before that first caution that we hit, right? Am I correct on the outside there?
Yeah, I think so. I got the lead the lap before the caution came out, and then I was hoping after the pit stops I'd be able to maintain it, but looks like a couple of people didn't take tires to kind of get that track position, so we got shuffled back to the outside again and had to start all over.
Well, hey, thanks for the time. Congratulations again. A great points race for you today. You led a lap. Got a bonus for that, and you finished third place. You're on the podium, buddy. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I want to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. It's always a blast. And I want to wish Rod Flagg a happy birthday and congratulations on the win.
All right, Josh, we'll see you down the line. Thank you, buddy.
And then after that interview, it looks like we have Brandon Chabirko standing by. He was our second place finisher in that number 3 Wheaties car. He's going to have a chat with Richard Losper. Brandon's here. Brandon, are you with us?
Yeah, I got you.
Richard's going to have a little talk with you there, so go ahead, Richard.
Brandon, a win last time out and a second place today. Must be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, man, it's great. First and foremost, shout out to Rod for putting on the league. That's great, and it's been a long time coming for his 8-man win. He's been waiting a long time.
Well, I got to tell you that he was our pick tonight. Both myself and Brian picked him for the win, or we were hoping rather than knowing. And but it always seemed like the race was going to be between yourself, the 23 of Rod Flagg, the 5 and the 7 and the 2. You guys were certainly the best performing guys out there today.
Yeah, initially starting A-main, I was starting 20th, and I was like, oh, buddy, here comes a drop week for me. But luckily we were able to get the third line moving. I don't know what happened to the middle and the low side, but I was able to go from like 20th to second in a matter of 5 laps, so I was very pleased with that. And luckily, once we got up there, we were able to stay up there and finish well.
Yeah, and look, it's still a fairly long season to go, but you're going to stick around and do the whole of the season?
Oh yeah, I'll be with Rod until something happens with this league. I love it to death.
Yeah, it's a good league. I must say that I do enjoy watching. Some people say it's repetitive, that Daytona and then Daytona, and then of course you've got Talladega and then Daytona, Talladega. But I could watch this all day, every week.
Oh yeah, man, it's a blast. Play track racing. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's great.
All right, my friend. Well, congratulations on a good second place finish with a first place as well. That will keep you up in front of the championship, no doubt. And thanks for talking to us, man.
All right, thank you.
All right, and it looks like we also have one more interview. That's going to be Rod Flagg, the birthday boy and today's winner. Rod, it looks like Josh Hanner kind of leaked us the little secret there. How many years young are you today?
Well, it's actually going to be the big 3-0 tomorrow. It's not yet occurred yet, so I get to still be 29 for a little while, but definitely going to be 30 tomorrow, and looking forward to hopefully many wins to come at that age.
Yeah, well, of course, you're never too old or young for iRacing. It's a blast for everybody, of course, and you put on a great league, and it's just got to be a lot of fun, to win a race. You started 4th place, didn't really fall behind in the pack too much. It just seemed like everything went your way today, and congratulations on your win. How did it feel?
Yeah, it felt really good. We ended up dropping back. We started P4. Start there, and just kind of riding my line, and thought I could follow the third line up there and kind of get some momentum and try to get up there and race for the lead, but got shuffled back, and so mid-race we were running around P12, P13, and just got the right momentum on the high side, and we worked our way back up and got the lead, and from there just had some great partnership there with Josh Hanner, Brandon Sperko. They really wanted to keep me up there, which I'm thankful for. Thankful that we have good drivers out there that want to work with me and put me in a good place where I could be in a position to win. And I thought Brandon was actually going to get the win there when the first I think somebody wrecked and heard there was a spin, and he was just ahead of me on the backstretch when that happened. So I was a little scared that I was going to lose and he's going to three-peat, but ended up being in the right place where the caution came out and got the victory. So I'm real excited. I mean, this is I've always wanted to get a win here, and this is for the drivers, this is for the boys, in the pits. This is the trophy for me is trophy for everybody. So just real excited tonight.
Yeah, and of course, man, when you start out the race and you see Brandon Sperko and Frank both just way back there in the pack, and then you just, everything goes right. You only had about 3 cautions the whole race. You were able to keep a lot of position. Everything just seemed to fall in the line for you. So congratulations, and of course, with your birthday right around the corner, it must be the best feeling in the world. Thanks for talking to us tonight. We'll definitely catch you in the oncoming weeks. We got another race over at Daytona coming up, I believe, in a week. So we'll be glad to see you there.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. And again, we had a nice point tonight, and I think Brandon's still in the lead by a point, but we're going to sure go after him this season, and I think the points are going to be fantastic this season. So thanks for all you guys do, and again, have a great weekend, guys.
Thanks back at you. Well, folks, that's all we have scheduled and planned today. So we would like to thank Rod Flagg and his team, the organizers of the league. We would also like to thank the makers of various software and hardware that help make this stream possible. iRacing.com, XSplit, Twitch TV, Audio Technica, Behringer, and Aver Media. Thanks to the team today, Giancarlo, Sean, and Richard. It's always fun to work with you guys. I've always enjoyed it very, very much. If you'd like to find out more about the GSRC, you can find us at www.globalsimracingchannel.com, along with archived races and race highlights. We are also on Twitter at GSR Channel and Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. A big thanks goes to Dougie Beard for creating the camera sets that you saw during this stream. A special thank you goes to Eric Ekholm, who provides us with much of our music. You can find it not only here on GSRC, but in TV commercials, movie trailers, iTunes, and Spotify. If you like the music, tell Eric where you heard it at Eric Ekholm. Round 3 of the iSuperSpeedway.com A-Main Series returns live under the lights at Daytona, July 18th at 10 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss that race. It's going to be a lot of fun. Still to come later this month, on July 12th, we have the Continental Endurance Sports Car Series. That's round 5 at Watkins Glen Boots. So see Richard Losper try to take on some of the best names in both the Mustang and the MX-5. Going to be a good race over there, of course. And July 16th, we have Champion Motorsports joining us. This will be round 3 at Zolder. A lot of new prospects in that series. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And that looks like that's all we have planned. So until next time, race clean, race hard, and I'll see you on the track.